Hi, everybody. Welcome to English Digest. I'm Stephanie.
I'm Tom.
We are going to continue our travels. We're back in St. Petersburg, which is located in Russia. And the title of our unit, of course, is St. Petersburg, Russia's Crown Jewel. It's very beautiful. We found out in our first lesson that there's a lot of art there. There's a lot of fountains. There are a lot of waterways, which are beautiful too. And because of its beauty that comes from some of the castles and the architecture, we've got a lot of artists who have migrated to St. Petersburg. If you're surrounded by beauty, it often is inspirational for artists of every kind.
And hopefully the people of St. Petersburg don't drive crazy because nowadays, at least for me, my impression of Russia is that they're great at making dash cam videos of car accidents. I guess they drive pretty crazy there.
Oh, you watch this on YouTube, don't you?
YouTube, yes. If you watch those videos, dash cam videos, most of them seem to come from Russia.
Really?
And quite a few from Taiwan here, too. But in any case, that's another subject.
Okay.
You guys can discuss that. We're actually discussing St. Petersburg
Yeah,
today.
that would be an article named Crazy Drivers from Around the World.
That might make an interesting article indeed.
I think so.
But we're actually talking about traveling to St. Petersburg to see some of the beautiful sights there, like its architecture, the palaces, the river, stuff like that. So, hey, let's get to it, everybody. Let's talk about some more things having to do with St. Petersburg. We're going to read the entire contents of our lesson right now.
St. Petersburg, northerly geographical location, means that it experiences the midnight sun from mid-June to July. During this time, St. Petersburg's beauty radiates uninterrupted. Streets come alive with lively performances, carnivals, and revelers enjoying the end of the bitterly cold winter. While Russia is not alone in experiencing the White Nights phenomenon, rarely do other similar cities see as much artistic acclaim as St. Petersburg. St. Petersburg's abundance of artists makes it the perfect place for the famous White Nights Festival. From May until July, millions of people gather for the event, during which they'll see some of Russia's foremost dancers and musicians at the lavish Mariinsky Theater and Mariinsky Concert Hall. Those more interested in popular music performances make their way to Palace Square for international music acts, parades, carnivals, and more. Furthermore, it's impossible to wander the city streets without catching sight of actors dressed in period costumes, emulating the czars and tsarinas of the past. Kicking off the celebrations is the opening of the fountains at Peterhof Palace. The sight of all 150 fountains erupting at once is not an event to be missed. The true highlight of the festival, however, is the scarlet sails. Based on a popular legend, a ship with scarlet sails glides over the Neva River, traditionally marking the official beginning of summer. Everyone flocks to the Neva River for mock pirate ship battles, boat races, mesmerizing firework displays, and of course, the brilliant scarlet sails themselves. The celebration lasts long into the night, with the weary finally heading home at dawn. For a truly unforgettable experience, be sure to admire the spectacles of St. Petersburg yourself someday.
Okay, we're going to continue talking about St. Petersburg, Russia's crown jewel. We talked about it last time. Let's talk more specifically about the festivals that are going on there. Right now, if you can book your tickets, you can go catch the White Nights Festival that's going on there right now. So let's talk about that. St. Petersburg's northerly geographical location means that it experiences the midnight sun from mid-June to July. Okay, so St. Petersburg has a northerly geographical location. Northerly just means having to do with the north. That just means basically St. Petersburg is pretty far north. So if you're there during the winter, you're going to freeze your buns off unless you bring some warm clothes. And because of this, they're very close to the Arctic Circle there. So they experience the midnight sun from mid-June to July. Midnight sun means that even at midnight, the sun is still out, or at least there's still light in the sky. That happens in the north during the summer, and in the south, like in South America, places like that, during the winter.
Well, this is a really fun time to go, actually, because if you know Russia, you know it's freezing cold in the winter. So during this time from mid-June to July, St. Petersburg's beauty radiates uninterrupted. So it just continues to be light and shiny and probably a lot warmer than usual. Streets come alive with lively performances. They've got carnivals there like they do in some other cities, especially like they do down in Brazil, and they've got carnivals in New Orleans in America. Carnivals are very fun. They've got a lot of people who like to parade around in costumes. There are usually a lot of different performances. There's a lot of music and dancing and revelers. Revelers are people who like to party, frankly. It's an old-fashioned word for people who like to get out there and participate in festivals, and they're very lively and noisy. There's a lot of drinking and dancing and eating. Those are revelers. Have you ever been to a carnival, Tom?
Sort of.
Yeah.
If they have a carnival like in a small town or something, they'll have rides out, a merry-go-round and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And little activities that you can participate in.
Yeah.
But only real small town ones. Big carnivals are like the ones you mentioned, New Orleans and Rio de Janeiro.
Yeah.
Especially when it's Lent there, which has to do with the Catholic Church. We're not going to talk about that too much, but hey, I think Russia used to be very heavily Catholic, so maybe this has something to do with it. I don't know, but in any case here, these revelers are enjoying the end of the bitterly cold winter. Even in June there, they have some memories of the cold winter. Winter lasts quite a long time in northern countries like Russia or Canada, and of course, they don't start celebrating. I remember where I'm from, near Minnesota, we couldn't really go swimming in the lakes until June because the water was just too cold before then. But in any case here, they're celebrating the end of the winter. While Russia is not alone in experiencing the White Nights phenomenon, rarely do other similar cities see as much artistic acclaim as St. Petersburg. So yes, Russia is not alone with this White Nights phenomenon, which refers to the midnight sun. You're going to see that in Alaska, in Canada, and Norway, Sweden, places like that. But hey, St. Petersburg has the greatest celebration. Rarely do other similar cities see as much artistic acclaim as St. Petersburg. They just don't see that kind of acclaim or that fame very often.
A phenomenon is a word we use when we are looking at a situation, especially one that involves nature or science, and people are seeing that it exists or that it happens, but sometimes the cause is sort of unique or mysterious or kind of fascinating. Here, it's just something that happens in nature that's pretty cool. So phenomenon is the singular form, and if you have the plural, it's phenomena. So it's kind of cool if you get to see that sort of thing. I've never been that far north to experience that. So rarely do other similar cities see as much artistic acclaim as St. Petersburg. When you receive a lot of acclaim, it means a lot of people are praising you, and it's very enthusiastic and public. So they're saying, oh, this is great. So they're heaping or giving St. Petersburg a lot of praise, heaping praise on them with this acclaim.
Some movies receive positive critical acclaim.
Yeah.
The critics like them, for example. So let's move on now to the next paragraph here. It says, St. Petersburg's abundance of artists makes it the perfect place for the famous White Nights Festival. Okay, I would agree with that. It's a great city, great architecture, but then you've got all these artists there. You have an abundance of artists, and of course, we all know that artists don't really have full-time jobs, They're not very busy. They're just kind of sitting around in their studios all day painting, so they've got lots of free time on their hands, and they can organize these festivals.
Remember, it's not just painters. In just a couple of sentences, we're going to talk about their dancers and musicians.
Oh, we should indeed. Yes, we love the Russians with their Bolshoi ballet.
They love classical art.
And
yeah,
Tchaikovsky
classical music.
and stuff like that,
Sure.
Shostakovich, etc. So, yes, indeed, it's the perfect place for this White Nights Festival. And from May until July, millions of people gather for the event.
Yeah.
They don't gather all at the same time. That's just kind of the number added together over these couple of months, during this time, they'll see some of Russia's foremost dancers and musicians at the lavish Mariinsky Theater and Mariinsky Concert Hall. So these are foremost dancers and musicians. Foremost is basically the best one, the most prominent in rank. They're the most important. They are the highest in position.
Yeah.
They're just the best, basically.
Let's just say the best, huh? So I'm not really sure how to pronounce it. When I was reading the article, I said Mariinsky. So you'll have to go to Russian and figure that one out.
I saw two eyes there, so I tried to pronounce both eyes. But again, we're not Russian specialists.
We're not.
Here,
I'm not a Russian speaker. But it's a beautiful, beautiful theater and concert hall. I love things that are described as lavish. You can even have a lavish banquet, which most wedding banquets are like in Taiwan. Lots and lots and lots of food, beautiful food, delicious food. So it's very elaborate, luxurious if it's lavish. Both of these places are quite beautiful. And Russia is very famous for its classical music, especially its ballet dancers who dance to classical music. So if you do end up in St. Petersburg, you're not going to want to miss going to see a show at either the theater or the concert hall.
Indeed. So, my goodness, hopefully you can bring a lot of money and have a lot of time to enjoy what St. Petersburg has to offer during the White Nights Festival. We're going to stop right here with our discussion and turn things over to our Chinese teacher right now.
Hello everyone, my name is Tina. 我们继续来看一下这里有关于圣彼得堡的一些嘉年华会以及其他的盛事。在第一段的第二个句子提到 During this time, St. Petersburg's beauty radiates uninterrupted. 在这里提到呢，在夏天，大概就是6月中旬到7月的时候呢，圣彼得堡是一个非常棒的地方。在这里的uninterrupted 是一个形容词，当作主词补语，来说明前面的主词，也就是圣彼得堡的美呢，是不间断的，而且用了一个动词 radiate， 则是有发光、发热的意思。那么到底有哪些盛事呢？我们来看一下同一段的最后一句提到 While Russia is not alone in experiencing the White Nights phenomenon, rarely do other similar cities see as much artist acclaim as St. Petersburg. 当然咯，因为地理位置比较偏北，那么俄国不是唯一经历白夜现象的国家。Phenomenon 指的呢就是自然界的现象。举个例子来说 The employment problem tends to be a city phenomenon. 这里指的是就业问题常常是一个城市现象，不管是自然界的现象或一般的现象，我们都可以使用 phenomenon 这个名词。而后面的句子则是一个倒装句 rarely 开始，它是一个否定的副词，所以后面的句子就倒装咯。Do other similar cities， 所以用了一个 do 放在主词的前面，却少有其他类似的城市呢，像圣彼得堡经历那么多艺术上的赞誉。Acclaim 在这里当作名词，原本是有欢呼喝彩的意思。举个例子来说，他的成就为他赢得了科学界的赞誉。His achievement earned him the acclaim of the scientific community. 接着我们来看一下，在第二段的第二个句子提到 From May until July, millions of people gather for the event, during which they'll see some of Russia's foremost dancers and musicians at the lavish Mariinsky Theater and Mariinsky Concert Hall.在这里呢，从5月开始到7月，有数百万的人都会在这里聚集，参加这样的盛事。我们要看一个文法重点，逗号后面的 during which， 当然也就是在这段期间呢，在这个盛事的期间，会看到呢一些俄国最顶尖的舞者以及音乐家。我们来看一下 foremost 在这里当作形容词就有第一流的意思，而另外我们用了形容词 lavish 来修饰呢这个 Mariinsky Theater 跟 Mariinsky Concert Hall， 因为如果你有机会进去到这个音乐厅，你就会发现呢里面非常的金碧辉煌，原本 lavish 就有非常慷慨以及铺张的意思。
We're going to take a quick break. Stay tuned. We'll be right
back.Okay, let's continue talking about some of the sights and sounds of St. Petersburg, Russia. We're mainly talking about the White Nights Festival that's going on right now. It goes on from May to July. We've got millions of people there, and they go there to see some of Russia's foremost dancers and musicians at the lavish Mariinsky Theater and the Concert Hall. And those more interested in popular music performances make their way to Palace Square for international music acts, parades, carnivals, and more. Okay, so indeed, they are checking out different kinds of music there. Yes, Russia is known for its classical music. We mentioned some composers there earlier, but maybe that's not your thing. Maybe you just don't want to sit there looking at these people dressed in tuxedos, playing violins for hours on end. Maybe you want to hear some rock and roll with some guitars or balalaikas or whatever. So indeed, you can check out the international music acts, and there are also parades there with marching bands and floats and stuff, carnivals, and other stuff too.
Furthermore, the next sentence says it's impossible to wander the city streets without catching sight of actors dressed in period costumes, emulating the czars and tsarinas of the past. So if you're wandering, it means you don't have a specific direction you're going in. Maybe you're just checking out a place while you're on vacation. You're taking your time as you wander around. It's more enjoyable, I think, if you can just wander around rather than be kept to a schedule and be pushed to get somewhere at a specific time. Now, while you're out there on the city streets, if you're lucky, you can catch sight or get a glimpse of actors who are on the streets. They're dressed in period costumes, which means they're dressed like people who lived perhaps in the 1800s or 1700s before Russia became a communist country. It was a place where they had quite a bit of money in Russia at that point in time. At least those who were in power had a lot of money. And so they had very, very fancy costumes. I'm sure they're beautiful. Czars, of course, are the leaders. The men are czars and their wives, or perhaps their husband was killed and they were taking control. Their name, or their title at least, was Tsarina. These are old titles from the past.
What do you mean they had to wait until their husbands died? Maybe these ladies got the power on their own.
Hey, maybe they killed their husband and took power, took control.
Yes, but
hey, if you emulate someone, you're kind of copying them. You're looking at them as a model, a role model. We use this a lot, especially when we want to achieve something and we have a hero or a role model that we're looking up to. Perhaps you're in science and there's some famous scientist that you really think is a terrific guy or a terrific lady, and you use them as a role model. You emulate them. You follow in their path because you want to be successful too.
And we all know about cosplay, right? That involves people emulating their famous or their favorite cartoon characters and manga characters and stuff like that, dressing up like Mario or people from Attack on Titan, stuff like that. Now, moving on now to the next paragraph, it says, kicking off the celebrations is the opening of the fountains at Peterhof Palace. Remember, we mentioned that before. Peterhof Palace has all sorts of fountains there. I forgot the exact number there. But in any case, there they have the opening of them. We're kicking off the celebrations, just like a football game, whether it be soccer or American football or maybe even rugby. The game is started by kicking off the ball, or it starts with the kickoff. So to kick off the celebrations, we have the opening of the fountains at Peterhof Palace, and the sight of all 150 fountains erupting at once is not an event to be missed. There's the actual number of the fountains there. If I had just looked at the next sentence, I would have known. But in any case, we have the interesting use of the word erupt here. That's usually used to describe a volcano when it explodes, and you've got lava and smoke and ash coming out of the top of a volcano when it erupts, but also the word erupt can refer to things that happen all of a sudden, all at once, with great power.
Your temper can erupt. Maybe your boss erupts at you for doing something stupid. So you can use it to mean you're breaking out or bursting forth very quickly, suddenly. You can lose your temper very quickly and erupt. You can erupt in laughter, too. So anything that's very sudden and kind of unexpected and loud in a noisy way. These fountains must be pretty spectacular as they go off all at once. And it says here, it's not an event to be missed. You want to see it. The true highlight, or the thing that's really special about this festival, however, is called the Scarlet Sails. A highlight of anything is the best part, the most outstanding part of an event, or maybe of a period of time. Maybe the highlight of your life was getting married, or the highlight of your life was having your first child born, whatever it might be. The true highlight, or the best part of the festival, here they're saying, is the Scarlet Sails.
Scarlet Sails. Scarlet is like a bright red color, and based on a popular legend, a ship with scarlet sails glides over the Neva River, traditionally marking the official beginning of summer. So this is based on a popular legend in Russia. I don't think we mentioned actually what the legend is, but we've got a ship with scarlet sails, sails that are red, which is kind of unusual. Sails on sailing ships or sailboats are usually white. These are red, though, and these boats are gliding over the Neva River. When you glide, you kind of move smoothly and continuously, and you're not really making much noise. Like the gondolas going to Maokong kind of glide past you as you're looking at them, and sailboats, of course, glide across the water.
They sure do. I would love to see these sails. I bet they're beautiful. So this traditionally marks the official beginning of summer. If something marks something, it means it signifies, or it is representative of the date. So this is kind of how they know that summer's officially started, is when they see this particular event, with the scarlet sails. Now, it says here, everyone flocks to the Neva River, or I was looking this up, it's also Neva, which is Russian, but we just say Neva, for mock pirate ship battles. Mock here doesn't mean to make fun of somebody, which is a verb. Mock here just means fake or imitation. It's not authentic or real. So these are fake pirate ship battles. You're not watching real pirates fight each other. No, it's just kind of a performance. You're also going to get to see boat races and mesmerizing. That's a Z sound, mesmerizing. Firework displays. If something's mesmerizing, it's almost like you can't look away. It's like you're in a trance. Somebody put a spell on you. So I guess they have some pretty wonderful or spectacular firework displays, as we do here in Taiwan, of course, too. And I would love to see these brilliant red or scarlet sails. I bet they're beautiful.
It would be pretty cool indeed. So you've got all sorts of things going on at the Neva River during the White Nights Festival there. And the celebration lasts long into the night, with the weary finally heading home at dawn. So as you might expect, they stay up really, really late, and it doesn't really matter because the sun is out until very, very late. So you don't have to go to bed. You probably couldn't because the light would keep you awake. And we're talking about the weary here. Weary usually is an adjective. It just describes a state of being extremely tired. Oh, I'm so weary. I really need to go to bed. But here, we're changing the adjective into a noun to refer to those people who are weary. Just like we do with like the rich. The rich should help the poor, for example. In this case, the weary, they finally head home at dawn. Dawn, of course, is the break of day when the sun is rising.
Yeah, it's pretty wonderful. So if you're looking for a truly unforgettable experience, something you'll never, ever, ever forget, you want to head on over to Russia and into the city of St. Petersburg. Unforgettable. I think we've all had some unforgettable experiences.
We certainly have.
It doesn't have to be positive. It could be negative too, but usually it's for something good that happens in your life. You could also use the word memorable, a memorable experience. Unforgettable is pretty spectacular. Something that you've done you'll never forget. A spectacle is a word that comes from something we used to use long ago to describe glasses that we wear, eyeglasses. They were called spectacles because we could see through them. So if something is a spectacle, that's a noun. It means it's pretty cool, pretty spectacular to see. That's where the adjective comes from, spectacle, spectacular. So I don't know about you, Tom, but I'm ready to get on a plane to go to St. Petersburg.
Me too, and I can't wait to try some of that Russian food and drink and dance with those Russian ladies. Okay, that brings us to the end of our lesson for today. Here comes our Chinese teacher.
在圣彼得堡的夏天有许多的庆祝活动，我们来看一下第3段的第一个句子。Kicking off the celebrations is the opening of the fountains at Peterhof Palace. 在这里的 kick off 其实就是有讲事件的开始。举例来说 The show kicks off this week 指的就是这个表演呢在本周就会开始，而其实你看到这一连串的庆祝活动会开始，则是以这个 Peterhof Palace当中的开放喷泉来当做它的开幕，所以有机会一定要来看一下这150座的喷泉在这里喷发的景象。而中间句子提到 Based on a popular legend, a ship with scarlet sails glides over the Neva River, traditionally marking the official beginning of summer. 在这里呢，还有一个重要的红帆节。根据传说呢，有一艘有着红色帆布的船会划过这个涅瓦河，那么就象征着夏天正式的开始。我们要注意的是 based on 常常用被动的方式来表达是以什么为根据的，像我们常说 The movie is based on a true story， 也就是说这个电影是根据一个真实故事而改编的。这篇文章的最后2句写着 The celebration lasts long into the night, with the weary finally heading home at dawn. 你会看到庆祝的活动持续一直到深夜，而疲倦的人们就会在黎明的时候回家。我们要注意一下这一句的句型 with 来加上名词，再加上 VING 来修饰名词有主动的这种动作。而 the weary 指的就是这一群参加庆祝活动疲倦的人。For a truly unforgettable experience, be sure to admire the spectacles of St. Petersburg yourself Sunday. 说了这么多，如果你想要有一个难以忘怀的经验，有朝一日务必要到圣彼得堡来欣赏它的这些奇观咯。在这里的 spectacle 解释成为景象跟奇观的意思，所以我们常常说举行盛大的演出，就可以说 to put on a spectacle。OK， 以上就是今天的课文讲解，谢谢收听。
Thanks for joining us, everybody, and we hope you'll come back soon for more English Digest. I'm Stephanie.
And I'm Tom. Goodbye.
Bye.